fun.
Well, it's a novel way of trying to demonstrate, comparatively speaking, how 5 pretty similar or certainly, no, it's not similar, certainly similarly inspired.
And I like how you ended on the corporate colours.
Blue, blue and blue, a bit of purple.
Hi, I'm Anderton. Welcome to Anderton. Can I take your Anderton, please? Yes, you can, Anderton.
Some people say we overly brand this channel, but hey, what else are we supposed to do? You're not paying to watch this stuff, are you? So, talking about over lunch, ideas for videos, and we agreed that basically shooting a video where we went, well, you know, what other guitars are kind of Les Paul inspired? So if you had £1,000 and you thought, I fancy a sort of a Les Paul inspired guitar, what could I get? So we wandered
in the
around,
range of that cashish?
Yeah, we wandered around Andertons and we picked out 5 guitars, some of which you'll be familiar with, maybe some less so.
I would just have said this is slightly more SG inspired than.
Well, it's probably Les Paul Junior inspired.
I suppose
or Les Paul Special inspired.
Sounded really good, in my opinion. Yeah, really
so
good.
let's start with where actually is the guitar that inspired all of this? Just behind you. So, and that, by the way, was the loop that we were playing to was recorded on that guitar through that amplifier, just so that you know. So what is the studio is a guitar that's been in the Gibson catalogue for a long, long time. It was the first real attempt, probably 20 odd years ago, that Gibson made to say, let's try and do a kind of an affordable version of a Les Paul Standard, but without heavily, without really changing the design. So obviously in the past, Les Paul Juniors and Specials and stuff, they were affordable versions of Les Paul, but they weren't really full fat Les Pauls. This is kind of like a full fat Les Paul.
It's like a semi-skimmed.
Yeah, it's the right body thickness, it's got the right pickups on it, it's all the right materials, it's the same factory, it's just much, much simpler finish, no binding, not worrying about book matching flame tops and all that kind of stuff. So that
sounds like a monster though, doesn't it?
And that is pretty much your £1,000 Les Paul studio.
Yeah, but it's a full fat American Les Paul studio.
And then I guess probably, and I'm just saying it, probably the most famous sort of Les Paul inspired guitar, would you say?
How long have ESP been making the Eclipse for?
Since before I started selling guitars, I'm sure. So, well, you know about the Eclipse. You were an ESP man for a long time, weren't you?
I think I still technically am an ESP guitars artist, but I had the original Japanese ESP Eclipse that was the full thickness body and EMGs, and I absolutely loved it. And I have to say that the LTD version is very, very, very close, but the sound isn't quite there. But that's because these aren't EMGs. Yeah, and so the Eclipse, in its sort of current format, I suppose, is slightly thinner body than a regular Les Paul, but it's a sort of a much more ergonomic set through neck design. I really used to enjoy the feel of the neck. Yeah. With a sort of satiny blackness. And you can get, of course, the Eclipse. You'll often see, when we're talking about the word Eclipse, obviously, what you'll see in the model number is EC and then a number. And if it's a low number, like I think, EC50 or something, that'll be the absolute lowest price that you can get something like this in. And then it goes up to, is EC1000? I think this is an EC1000. So I think this is fairly top of the range within the LTD range. And then above that, it goes into the Japanese full fat ESP. PRS have this beautiful CE24.
So, now, I think for many years, and probably slightly unfairly, lots of people used to say PRS were kind of like, Les Paul rip-off type guitars. And I certainly think within the last 5 to 10 years, they've emerged from that shadow and kind of said, well, look, we are our own thing.
Emerged from the shadow like Mordor.
Yeah, but certainly, if you go to their single cut body shape, and this is that, the single cut body shape would still be the one that I suppose most closely resembles a Les Paul. This is from the S2 series, so American made, but it's what's called an S2 Standard, so it would be one of the most affordable S2s. So again, a very thin sort of lacquer coating, so not a gloss finish. No use of flame maples or anything like that. Just a straightforward mahogany body, set neck. In fact, if you look at the neck joint, it's probably more reminiscent of the Les Paul's neck joint than it is of the ESPs.
But this guitar does a couple of things really, really well. I mean, I own a couple of these guitars. One of them is they made scratch plates cool again. I think this is, in my opinion, one of the first times that a new scratch plate shape came out and looks the dogs. The other thing is, for some reason, there's something about the scale length and the playability that just makes it easy to play. Thicker strings on this guitar. Yeah. And I've always loved the way PRSs play.
It's ironic, isn't it? Because, well, not ironic, sorry, it's the wrong word. So the scale length on this is, it's a longer scale length than the Les Paul is. I think it's the same scale length. It's scale length where, if you're not sure what I mean, it's the distance from the nut to the bridge. And basically, I can't believe that Pete Honoré has giggled at that I said the word nut. There you go, it must be a Friday afternoon. So anyway, it's the distance between the nut and the bridge, and the Les Paul is a 24 3/4 inch scale length, which for electric guitars, certainly compared to a Strat, is quite short, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which means the strings feel a bit more bendy. PRS went to 25 inch scale length, which doesn't sound like a lot, it's only like that much difference.
No,
but
it makes a big difference.
It does feel different, and I'm fairly sure the EC1000 is 25 inch scale length as well.
Yeah. And I always liked that about the Eclipse.
So a little bit more string tension there, which again, some people like, some people don't. It's a personal choice.
For the degentage.
For the degentage.
If you could degent. What's that then?
Okay, so this is a UK-made guitar, according to their website, the UK's longest running guitar builder, Gordon Smith. This, in terms of its shape, is clearly the furthest from a Les Paul Standard, so it's slab body, double cutaway, wraparound tailpiece. It's also the cheapest one of the 5 guitars that we've got here, which I guess is surprising given that it's British made. And this comes in various guises. You can have them with P90s, you can have them with humbuckers, you can have them with a mix of single coil and humbucker.
This one sounds really, really, really good.
Yeah.
And the playability is absolutely there too. I just wish the logo was bigger on the headstock.
It's got that kind of, there's a certain, what's the right word? There's a certain charm in the fact that it almost looks like it's a guy who's just put a little sort of sticker on the headstock to go, this is my logo, as opposed to, look at the Paul Reed Smith one or in fact all the other ones, they're much more ornate.
They use up the area of geography given them.
But definitely Gordon Smith has never been about making aesthetically lavish looking guitars. It's always appealed to someone that wants a more sort of nuts and bolts looking guitar. And then lastly, and
good old Chapman.
A good old Chapman is there. So this was the guitar that this is the ML2, which originally came out in the Chapman range about 4 or 5 years ago.
Can't even believe it's been that long.
And the ML2, this one is the ML2 Professional. So this has had a few sort of spec tweaks. I guess this is much more, this is a through neck. So it's got the same sort of neck join that the LTD's got, if I show you the LTD model. But whereas the LTD is 2 separate pieces of wood glued into each other,
it's a set through, isn't it?
Yeah, set through. The Chapman is a true through neck. Again, I'm not going to talk about better, worse, just different. And then the sides of the guitars are glued on. It has a real maple cap, like a centimetre thick, proper flame maple caps, not a veneer. And it's got, again, it's a slightly thinner body than a regular Les Paul Standard. locking machine heads.
Stainless steel frets.
Yeah, it's like I guess it's, this is quite a good example really of what happens if you've got £1,000 to spend on a guitar and you've got a choice of going to a country where the labour charges are quite high, like America or the United Kingdom. You have to accept that you'll be getting a guitar where...
well, there's no cap. And
no everything. There's no
Yeah.
binding, there's no cap, there's typically no case. You might get a gig bag or something
Yeah.
like that. Whereas if you go to the Far East, like the LTD or the Chapman, because the labour is cheaper, you have...
Same factory.
Yeah, you have money to spend. You know, what you save on the labour, you can
Yeah, so then
add
you
into
get the hard
spec.
case, you get the steel frets, you get the maple top, you get the whole lot.
all the sort of stuff. You know, is there a humongous difference in the way they all sound? They all
That's
felt,
the best one.
They all felt quite different to play, didn't they?
Yeah.
I certainly think that the LTD and the Chapman have a much more contemporary feeling neck. The PRS
Well,
and
that's
the
a
Gibson.
modern design.
Yeah.
So my favourite two of the whole lot are this one and that one. Two best sounding of the whole lot. Clearly this one and this one.
Really?
Yeah, I really like the sound. It's fat and creamy.
Without the backing track going on, and you know, let's just literally go through a little lick on each guitar and perhaps a more detailed, like, what does it feel like? So on the neck pickup for you, I've rolled it off because I've got my Red Dwarf set to a little bit of crunchy. You got coil taps on that guitar or not?
No, it's just a three-way, but on the floor, got my Mjolnir and I got my Fuzz Roach to speed me.
Do the same thing on the Les Paul then.
Perceptively immediately warmer.
So, do you know what? There's a like the which came first, chicken and or the egg, and mine is like, why do I like the Les Paul sound so much? Is it because it's a great sound, or is it because it's a sound that came first and I just grew up loving? But I think it sounds great.
Did you get you got a little bit of a semi then, didn't you?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, that's what I love most about guitars is the fact that no one's right and no one's wrong. But you know, for Rob loves the PRS, I love the Les Paul. would say, and again, I hope this isn't just like, you know, my brain is telling me to say something because that guitar reminds me of another one. I think it's got that slightly more gnarly SG tone about it than it has of a Les Paul tone about it.
Could be psychosomatic, we won't
I think
know.
it's psychosomatic.
It might be.
The other thing I should just say as well, in a previous Gordon Smith video, Rob and I said that the hardware on the Gordon Smith that we had didn't feel very good, and it was probably sort of crappy Chinese stuff. But actually, the nice man at Gordon Smith said, well, I'm sorry you didn't like the hardware on it, and maybe you had a bad one, but they are Goto Japanese hardware on these guitars. So, and certainly, yeah, that one feels way better than the one that we had. A little bit surprised there. That's actually my other favourite other than the Les Paul.
It sounds fantastic.
Sounds really good.
Well, I tell you what, and if you can afford it and you can go up to the Japanese...
Yeah, but that's like more than double.
But so much better. And this is great, but it's Japanese made guitars, brilliant.
Yeah. I think just to recap here, pretty much everything we've got in the room here is somewhere between £750 and £1,000.
Yes.
So I'm pretty sure Japanese ESP stuff is £2,000 to £3,000 and upwards. So a little bit. So lastly, oh, and I should also say as well, all of these guitars are available in different colours. So if you're, we've obviously got, apart from the Chapman here, we've got a lot of black guitars. And if that's not your bag, don't panic, because they're all available in different colours. And I will put links in the description below so that you can go and look at all the beautiful pictures on our website. So here we go. Lastly, demonstrated by the founder himself. So if you like it, it's all him. If you don't, it's equally. Naughty sausage. Yeah, that one
it's
actually...
a stuffed meat product.
That one's definitely, for me, at the sort of the edgier, brighter range, a little bit more like the PRS, I thought. Not as bassy as something like the Les Paul was. But, hey, they all sound good. They all look cool.
Good job at bad cop, good coply.
No, I'm not. I'm just telling you. There's no such thing as the best tone, is there? There's only what your ears like through the amp that you're using. And,
yes. Obviously, I'm tremendously biased.
Look, and so you should be. You should be. Well, look, so there you go. That is our little run through of 5 guitars for about the same price that are all Les Paul inspired.
What was that comment section? You want us to do this again at some point, but with S-type guitars?
Well, I'm certainly, and I'm not going to give it away now, but in case some other YouTube rips the idea off, but I've definitely got an idea for that will be coming to a video near you soon.
You've heard it first here at Andertons. Yes, you can, Anderton.
Yes, you can, Anderton.
I've been Rob Chapman.
And so you Shanderton.
Chaff us out.
Bye.
Oh, I got it right on the lens.
Sausage. Hey everybody, thanks for watching the Andertons Guitar YouTube channel. If you're a drummer or a keyboard player or interested in music technology, you might find one of our other channels interesting, and I'll put details of those in the description below. If you want to find out more about the products we've just featured, please click here. If you'd like to buy a t-shirt like this, please click here. If you want to watch another video on our guitar channel, click down here. And to subscribe to our guitar channel, click here. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.